Now, if you don't know what DRT is, it basically stands for dead right there. So I learned something very important during the film of this video, and that is breaking optics like this right here is actually just really fun. So sometimes it is just fun to be rough and break things. And also you guys get to see just the beating that some of these things can take. And talking about hardcore gear and stuff, the sponsor of today's video is HRT Tactical, longtime supporter here. HRT makes those sweet soft goods for your hard lifestyle, from plate carriers to chest rigs. And now that first line as well with their new super light and super stiff arc belt system. If you need gear, check out HRT. They will fulfill all of your hard range training or LARPing needs. All right, everybody, so this optic right here, the Promethean LP-1, as you can see, it's taken a beating, but this thing was marketed as indestructible. Now, you give anything to a ranger and we will find a way to break it. Obviously, as you can see by this, but I took it to the absolute extreme. But of course I did that for a reason, because I wanted to see just how much of a beating this thing could take before the glass broke or the housing gave way or that LED emitter stopped working. We will talk more about the beatings that this thing took here in a minute, but let's talk about what this school bus of an optic is. It's really similar to your EOTech, maybe some Hollow Sun, or even that VH, I think 1 Gen 2 now from Vortex. The difference being this is a true LED emitter. This is not a holographic sight like the EOTech is. So there's a very distinct difference between those twos. Generally, holographic sights aren't going to give you as much battery hour time, and they're going to have a little bit of a different look as compared to a projected red dot style optic. And all the ammo for today's video, as well as the channels, brought to you by my good friends at TruShot. Awesome group of people over there. The last and only good thing left in Tempe, Arizona is TruShot. Make sure you check their YouTube channel out as well and give those guys a little bit of love. Obviously, like I said, this is an enclosed emitter style optic. So there's a piece of glass in the front, piece of glass in the rear, and it is IPX8 rated. So no dust, dirt, water, nothing is getting up inside that optic until you break that glass like I did. But enclosed emitter optics like aim points and pretty much anything else out there are very common, very good, and have been well proven at this point. The main body of this is going to be 7075 T6 aluminum. Now that is hardcore stuff, it's very good. The outer shield, because that is a different piece than the main body, is 6061, and it is replaceable, and I think they even have like different colors or something. So it is parallax free, which means basically as you move your head around, that dot is pretty much going to stay right where it is, but there is no such thing as 100% parallax free. There will always be a slight amount of parallax. It's just not really going to be noticeable to you. At most distances, you're going to take a red dot to. Now, speaking of the red dot, you've got several options within this thing. You're going to have circle dot, red dot, circle, and it's going to be a 65 MOA ring plus a dot, or a 65 MOA ring only. Up to you on how you want to do that. Very easy to change. The manual goes over that. It's basically holding a button. Single CR123A battery, 60,000 hours, but that is continuous runtime with a CQB reticle, and 150,000 hours with that 2 MOA dot reticle only on setting 3 of 8. So I will say it's pretty bright, especially at the highest setting, but a setting 3 was actually usable in most conditions except for the bright sun out in Arizona. So getting 60 or 150,000 hours or even close to that was pretty good. You get 6 total day settings, 2 night settings, a pick rail attachment, which we will talk more about because there was a problem. Now the weight comes in at 11.8 ounces without the hood, because you can take it off, or 12.5 ounces with it. So basically that is like having a beer on top of your rifle, as long as it's not Bud Light. All right, so I know some of you need those detailed specs, but sometimes you need sexy music to go with that. So I'm gonna let you have it. Now, while we're at this point and you have just gotten those specs and seen some of the damage we have inflicted on this optic, consider subscribing to the channel. If you like seeing videos like this and learning about things you may be interested in from an unbiased source, or you just find some entertainment or value, subscribe to the channel. It's gonna do two things for you. One, it'll make sure you don't miss any of the videos or deals that may come up, but also it's gonna signal to YouTube to push these videos to other people, maybe some of which have never been exposed to 2A or gun content before, which may help us win a few more people over. And that's just a good thing for all of us. And now that performance out on the range, I have to say I had some good fun out there with this besides just bashing into a steel plate. The glass up front on this thing was solid all the way up until I broke it. Had a very clear and clean look to it. And that's something big for me. So wearing contacts and having a slight stigmatism, if the glass is bad, I notice it instantly. The clarity of the dot or the circle or whichever reticle you went with was very good. I didn't notice any bursting or splatter kind of like pattern, which I sometimes get due to my stigmatism. It was good. It is a solid setup. Now, she's a little thick, but she's still pretty snag free. And overall just has a very good downrange view. So it gives your eye a nice big window and you look right through it. So it draws that target right in, at least it did for me. Now the controls are very nicely placed, very easy to get to, and easy to manipulate with your offhand right there on the left side of the optic. So overall the range performance was solid, even up to the point where I shot it with a 12 gauge shotgun with buckshot. Unfortunately, I only have a picture of that. So since it's getting hot in Arizona, we've been out there all day, the camera overheated, so I lost the actual money shot with that 12 gauge double lock coming out of the Mossberg Shockwave, which is an awesome shotgun, but the photo's all I have, so I will do better next time on that one. And speaking of doing things better or differently, if I do an endurance testing like this again with an optic, I will definitely change the flow, because me and Jonathan from Tactical Toolbox were out there filming it, shooting it, having fun. Started the drop testing and we were having so much fun beating on it and shooting it with a shotgun that we forgot to shoot it in between all of the drop tests so you can see that it was still zero and all that stuff. My bad, and as your YouTuber, I promise I will do better in the future, but I just got wrapped up in the smash.
Smash.
Well, what is the good, the bad, and now the busted ass ugly when it comes to this optic? Well, obviously, it was durable. Well, it definitely took a beating before the housing and the glass finally gave way. Some of the other good stuff are going to be the reticle of choice. So some people like a dot, some people like a circle, some people like a circle and a dot. You get to do that stuff if you want it. You're also getting what appears to be a very good battery life at a reasonable setting, coming out at 60,000 or up to 150,000 hours on that setting 3 of 8, which isn't bad because 2 settings are night vision. So you have 6 total daytime settings. So that's kind of right in the middle. Overall, very good. When it comes to the overall size, weight, and design of it, it's kind of a wash, because when you get into optics like this, whether it's an EOTech or that UH1 or the Romeo 8T, I think it is, you're gonna have a bigger, kind of more school bus looking optic across the top. Now, it might not be everybody's thing, but if you like that style of optic, this one is gonna be one you can take a look at. So let's talk about, were there any bad things about the optic? And there was one thing right out of the box that was a problem. So the QD mount on it right there, it's pretty simple. You just pull back on this, flop it open, and you throw it on. Well, they had a problem with the machining on the initial couple batches of these, and it was too small. So it wasn't sized perfectly. So you either had to go so tight that when you tried to get it over the rail and activate the QD mount, you literally tore your rail up, or it was so loose that it would just move around on the top of your receiver. Now I reached out to them, they sent a whole new bottom section and it was perfect. So they had an issue with some spec up front, but they took care of it and replaced those for everyone that had one that was out of spec. Things happen, it's a new company, new optic, that's just how it is. So they took care of it, and it appears to be everyone I know that has gotten one since that, it has fit perfectly. And the only other thing that could really be looked at as a con, besides the fact that it's got, buckshot in the side of it right there, which blew out the side of the housing, is it's a little heavy. It's basically, like I said, putting a beer can on top of your rifle. So if weight savings is your thing, there are optics that are lighter than this one out there, and that's something you got to take into account based on what your build is and what you're looking for. As far as the warranty goes, Well, hopefully they don't watch the video, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna. So we're gonna see how the warranty process is on the Promethean LP-1, but I doubt anybody's gonna do this to their optic in real life because this was for a video so you could see the durability and the brutality we could put on an optic before it gives way. So my final thoughts on it are, it was a pretty solid and durable optic. Price point coming in right at $350 is not bad at all for something that can take that level of beating, has that battery life, and gives you the reticle choices that it did. Now, again, the only thing is it the kind of design that you want or you don't want? Do you want something smaller, or do you like a more robust, thick, full-sized optic? Now, I will probably get another one in for long-term review, but as you can see, this one is DRT. Now, if you don't know what DRT is, it basically stands for dead right there. And I'm just happy to see another company put out a durable, solid optic with really good options in it, because that just adds competition to the market, which means more good stuff for us and usually starts driving prices down. So curious what your thoughts are. Are you into the school bus or beer can on your rifle? Or are you looking for a smaller style optic? Does the weight and size bother you, or do you like them thick? Make sure you get subbed up to the channel. A huge thank you to all of the Patreons for the support. A lot of what happens on the channel is due to the Patreon. If you want to support me, you can check the Patreon out or use any of the affiliate links at my website or here down below on YouTube. Get out on the range and have some fun. Not this much fun. Remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I'll see you all on the next one.